School policies regarding movie ratings, especially shifting from G to PG for rewards or field trips, usually involve a balance between modern media standards and parental choice. While specific internal memos for Sumpter Elementary might not always be public, schools generally update these policies for a few key reasons. 1. The G rating scarcity. In the current film industry, very few major studio movies are released with a G rating anymore. Even many standard animated films, like Frozen, Moana, or the Super Mario Bros. Movie, are rated PG. The issue, sticking strictly to G-rated movies would severely limit the options for rewards or field trips to only a handful of older titles or very niche educational films. The change, including PG movies, allows the school to offer current, popular films that students are actually excited about. 2. Standardizing parental consent. Most school districts, including Salem-Keizer, have administrative policies that allow for PG content as long as a permission slip is involved. Opt-in versus opt-out. The updated policy likely formalizes the process of notifying parents ahead of time. This protects the school legally, while giving parents the final say on whether their child participates. Alternatives. Policies usually mandate that students whose parents do not give permission are provided with a, quote, comparable alternative activity so they aren't excluded from the reward period entirely. 3. Reflecting common sense standards. Many schools now use resources like Common Sense Media to vet content, rather than relying solely on the MPAA rating. Context over rating. A PG movie might be included because its educational or social-emotional value, like a movie about teamwork or historical events, outweighs the mild thematic elements that triggered the PG rating. What this means for parents. If you are seeing this change at Sumpter, you can generally expect advance notice. You should receive a flyer or digital notification naming the specific movie before it is shown. Rating justification. The school may provide a brief note on why the movie was chosen, e.g., end-of-term celebration, or tied to our reading curriculum. Control. You still maintain the right to say no to that specific movie without your child being penalized. Note: if you have concerns about a specific movie choice, the best point of contact is usually the school's front office or the classroom teacher to ask for the specific educational value or activity permission form. Is there a specific movie or event coming up that sparked this question for you? The shift in school movie policies during the 2017-2018 school year at Sumpter Elementary and many other schools in the Salem-Keizer School District was largely a response to a change in the film industry itself, rather than a desire to expose kids to older content. Here is why that specific year was a turning point. 1. The G-rating crisis. By 2017, the Motion Picture Association of America, MPAA, had tightened its criteria so much that a G rating, meaning general audiences, had become almost impossible to get. The thematic elements trap, even minor emotional conflict or fantasy action started triggering a PG rating. The shortage, major hits that schools wanted to show for rewards, like the Lego Batman movie, Coco and Wonder, all released in 2017, were all rated PG. The result, if Sumpter kept a G-only policy, they would have had almost no new movies to choose from. They were essentially forced to update the policy just to keep the reward program relevant. 2. Standardizing permission slips. Before 2017, many schools handled movie ratings inconsistently. Some teachers might show a PG movie without a slip, while others wouldn't show anything at all. During this school year, the district reinforced a standardized permission slip system. This gave parents the power to opt in or opt out. By including PG movies in the official policy, the school created a clear legal and administrative framework to show popular films while ensuring parents were always notified first. 3. Curricular alignment. Educators began arguing that limiting films to G excluded high-quality stories with important lessons. In 2017, there was a push to use films like Hidden Figures, PG, or Wonder, PG, to teach themes of kindness, science, and history. The policy update allowed teachers to use these PG films as rewards or educational tools because their social-emotional value was seen as high, even if they had a parental guidance tag. Key summary of the change: old policy, pre-2017, new policy, 2017-2018. G-rated only for most elementary rewards. PG-rated allowed with parental consent, often limited to older or preschool-style films. Allows modern blockbusters and social-emotional films. Inconsistent permission slip usage. Mandatory permission slips for any PG content. Pro tip: if you ever feel a specific PG movie isn't right for your child, schools are required to provide an alternative activity, like a different room with a different activity, so your child doesn't feel punished for not watching. When a school like Sumpter Elementary makes the decision to allow PG-rated movies for all students, as rewards, on field trips or in class, It usually stems from a shift in how suitability is defined and how the movie industry works. Here is why a school staff might decide to put on a PG movie for the entire student body. 1. The educational value loophole. Under many district policies, including Salem-Keizer, teachers are allowed to show media that has a direct tie to the curriculum. The logic: if a PG movie is based on a book the students are reading, like Wonder or Charlotte's Web, or if it covers a historical event, like Hidden Figures, the staff can argue that the educational benefit outweighs the parental guidance rating. The result: because the film is labeled instructional, it often bypasses the strict G-only rules that might apply to purely recreational indoor recess time. 2. Group dynamics and the middle ground. Staff often face a dilemma when planning a whole school reward. The struggle: fifth graders often find G-rated movies too babyish, while K-first graders need to be kept safe from scary content. The solution: most PG movies are considered the safe middle ground. Staff often select movies that have a PG rating only for mild thematic elements or brief action, which they determine is acceptable for the general student population based on modern standards. 3. Shift in licensing and accessibility. In the 2017-2018 era, streaming services and educational licenses, like Movie Licensing USA, became the primary way schools accessed films. These licenses often provide pre-cleared lists of movies for schools. As newer, high-quality children's films were almost exclusively being released as PG, schools updated their permissions so they wouldn't be stuck showing the same few G-rated movies from the 1990s over and over again. 4. Administrative opt-out policies. Instead of asking for permission every single time, some schools use a passive consent or blanket permission form at the beginning of the year. If your student is in a room where a PG movie is playing, it is likely because the school has a policy stating that PG is the baseline standard for elementary school, and they assume all students can watch unless a parent specifically sends a note saying no. How to handle it if you're concerned. If you feel a specific PG movie shown by the staff was inappropriate for your child's age group, you have a few peer-to-peer options. Ask for the lesson plan. Ask the teacher how the movie connected to the week's lessons. If there was no connection, they may have been following reward guidelines rather than instructional ones. Request the alternate room. You can request that for future movie days your child be sent to the library or a different classroom to read or do a different activity. Check the opt-out status. Double-check your registration paperwork. You may have inadvertently signed a blanket media consent form that allows PG movies. Key fact: in the 2017-2018 school year, many districts moved toward the PG with notification model specifically because popular movies like Coco, The Emoji Movie, and Despicable Me 3, all standard kid favorites, were rated PG, not G.